welcome to my Commander Legends Baldur's Gate collector box opening. This is part of a series I'm doing. Plan on regular content to upload to YouTube on a regular basis, so be sure to subscribe so that you can be notified about the next video. Anyways, let's begin. So, Commander Legends was one of those sets I think was very well received, and the second one, I mean, Commander Legend Baldur's Gate was like the sequel to it, and I think the IP in general, like the Dungeons and Dragons IP, I think is something that, you know, most fantasy people enjoy to some extent, but no AFR or Adventures of Forgotten Realms, like the actual Magic set, was a bit less well received, possibly due to lower power level and some of the randomness in the cards, you know, with the D20 rolling mechanic. This set, I know, was definitely not like the most popular. Most people may only honestly know this set from doing the playing it on as like alchemy. Reckless Barbarian, Jade Orb of Dragonkind. Again, there was like a dragon theme which makes Dungeon. Dream Fracture. Arenik is this vile duplication. The clone sorcery that makes a creature non-legendary if it was legendary. Because there's a lot of legendary. Bonecaller Cleric. Swamp. Right, Corlessa Scale Slinger. Singer. Dragonbard, alright. Sod in here. The toughness matters card, and then also this that had initiative in it, which definitely had an impact on legacy. Saravok Deathbringer. Vexing Puzzle Box. So a D20 focus card. If you get 100 charge counters on it, it's a lot. I guess, yeah, if you have like a lot of dice rolling cards, I could see this basically, you know, getting you an artifact after like what, 4 or 5 turns, maybe, I don't know. Black Market Connection. I know this card is somewhat popular in EH because of the card advantage and advantage. Plus, you have a lot more life to work with. Like Pyrexian Arena, but better in some ways. Because it costs you more life to get the card. A lot more option. Wand of Wonder. Kind of like Chaos Wand. Except a bit more random. Will Blade of Frontiers. Nautiloid Ship. Vehicles. Was like a reanimator type cards. Comment damage. Kindred Discovery. Ooh, okay. Yeah. That is cool for your table deck. Definitely. So yeah, this set also had like the choose a background, which basically means there's these legendary enchantments that do something different based on, you know, obviously which enchantment you play, and I believe it's actually start with it in play. No, I guess you have to cast it still because it does have a mana cost. So like, it wouldn't make sense just be in play, but and then it costs mana. Because if it was just like a free thing, it would just be no mana, whatever cards from Conspiracy. Anyways, Breath Weapon. So a board wipe for this kind of good for Dragon tribal decks. Obviously bad versus Dragon tribal decks. Grey Harbor Merfolk. Okay, so like a 2/3 unblockable as long as you have a commander. You have commanders that are not creatures or planeswalkers. Band together. Haunting Kobold. And Thunder Wave. So it's like, yeah, board wipe that sometimes it's just Flame Wave. Get the 20. Or, you know, sometimes you get most, I guess, so sometimes it's just like a board wipe, 3 damage to everything, and sometimes save one thing. Flame Wave. Val Candlekeep Researcher. Mana can be spent to cast spells from your hand. So it's like, either for abilities or casting spells from exile off your library or from your Commander Liara Porter. So you attack, spells you cast from exile turn cost X less to cast where X is an act. Exile the top X cards from your library. Until end of turn you may cast spells from among those exiles. Okay. Yeah, so just, yeah, you can exile. I mean, you can also combo other cards that exile. Sword Coast Sailor. Elminster. First time I've seen this Planeswalker. 3, you know, white, blue, legendary Planeswalker, Elminster. Whenever you scry, the next instant or sorcery spell you cast this turn costs X less to cast, where X is the number of cards looked at while scrying this. And +2 draw cards. Draw a card and scry 2, and then -3 exile the top card of your library. Create a number of 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature tokens with flying. Okay. A lot of text on it, but it's like a scry payoff card, and also rewards you for playing expensive cards. Bothersome. Wait, is it? Code card, alright. Eldritch Pact. See some kind of play with like Shieldred combo there. Draga Gorgut's boss mana ability type thingy, or boards for paying a lot of creatures with mana abilities. Or really big expensive spells. Another Elminster. And a Dynahair and for Adept. Spending 4, whenever you activate an ability this turn by spending 4 more mana, activate a copy of that. like a creature ability lord. Foxy Toucaneers. Toucaneers cat ring. Has Myriad, which is, if you're not familiar with it, whenever this creature attacks for each opponent other than defending player, you may create a token that's a copy of this creature that's tapped and attacking that player, or planeswalker they control, exile the tokens that. Since Arena or MTG Arena doesn't have multiplayer in it, they redid a lot of these Myriad cards to have double team, which whenever this creature attacks, create a copy of it and then remove double team both. It's sort of, it was like super dead, but you creature right away. Copy of the Bronze Walrus, Mana Dork with Scry, or colorless Mana Dork with Scry. Dawnbringer Cleric, so this is like a reprint from AFR. Treasure Keeper. I was like thinking this is very similar to that one card from oh, I think this is actually just a reprint from Aether Revolt, I believe. Patriarch Seal. So mana rock that lets you untap legendary creature. Swamp. Close on Dragon's Legacy. Blue, red, legendary creature, common flying. Whenever you cast an adventure spell or a dragon spell, those on Dragon Legacy. Spells mana value to any target that isn't. Terravog Deathbringer. So it rewards people for having permanents leave the battlefield. Well, I mean, punish. Actually, it's more like it punishes people if they don't have permanents. Candlekeep Sage background. Shadowheart Dark Justiciar. So similar to Disciple of Bolas, except it's an activated ability. Plan Crafter. So background. LTRL Survivors, Trample Myriad. Again, that mechanic with making a copy of the creature. Win the turn. Mercurial Lord of Bones. So, okay, so when creatures you control, non-token creatures you control die, you can exile it and then make a token of the copy except an enchantment. So, like, it's good for your ETB abilities, but you don't get to, like, attack or block. Starion the Decadent. And there's like, yeah, life. Similar, it feels a little bit like, well, no, it just doubles your life gain or doubles life loss. Then Earthquake Dragon. Casual 15 mana, 10/10 flying trample fly. I mean, it's not going to cost 15 mana most of the time. In Undercity. I think that was the other thing about this set that was not super well received, at least from like a legacy perspective, was the initiative cards, because they were sort of broken in legacy. But I mean, it's just like a mechanic that was very pushed for, you know, multiplayer not being balanced in, you know, in single player. I mean, sure. Nefarious Imp. Lightning Bolt. I'm not sure what the thing about this art. I think it's, I mean, so it's like a lightning bolt hitting a door. I guess you can't really see who's, or I can't see who's casting it. No, I guess you can see who's casting it. It's at the definitely not quite same usual lightning bolt that your art that you're used to of like somebody standing with their arms outstretched casting a lightning bolt stuff. Flaming Fist Officer, Soul Warband again, the Myriad card. Emerald Dragon. So adventures are a mechanic that was introduced in Throne of Eldraine. So basically, you can cast a if a card has like adventure on it, you can cast it as the adventure version, and then it goes into exile. And then you can play the creature version, or you can just play it as a creature if you want. The thing that to know is that if the adventure part gets countered, maybe either like a counter spell or they made the target illegal somehow, like giving a hexproof or removing it from play, then the adventure would just go into the graveyard as the card would go into the graveyard. Plains, Fire Diamonds, people who need more mana rock. Abdel Adrian, Gorian's Ward. So Abdel Adrian was the main character in Baldur's Gate 1. So yeah, he could like exile a bunch of permanents you can control, create one white soul. Free Urchin, background. Yeah, so you can turn your stuff into munitions card from it's like the munitions card from Ixalan. All the Void. So it's like, yeah, it's sort of like one of those council cards, except go for two different things. Brain Stealer Dragon. Go 5 mana, black, creature, dragon, horror, flying, 6/6. At the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of each one of the library. We play those cards for as long as they remain exiled. If you cast a spell this way, you may spend mana so it were mana of any color asset. Whenever a non-land permanent opponent owns enters the battlefield under your control, they lose life to its value. Yeah, so it's kind of like the. I'm trying to think. It's like it's kind of like one of those again, just like card advantage cards, but you're pulling from your opponent's library, so it's like theoretically it'd be like less less synergistic with what you're doing, because like it's from your opponent's library, but it is basic. It is kind of like drawing. Like in 4 player, it's kind of like drawing 3 cards at Bountiful Promenade, you know, Manderland, another Shadowheart Dark Justiciar. Sorry, so not Commando Land, but it's kind of like the Battle Bond land, whatever. And Jan Jansen, Chaos Crafter, and Mira Wild Mage. Or how you make that, how you break that, but quite random. Black Dragon Gate. These sort of see play in Pauper because there's like a gate deck. Upper. Vicious Dragonborn. Young Red Dragon. Rug of Smothering. Like an anti-storm card. Affects both players. Well, anti-storm card in the sense like it punishes you for casting a lot of spells. Contraband Livestock. So kind of like Generous Gift can hit any permanent, but it's just yes. This is kind of weird because sometimes you would actually cast it on your own creature to like upgrade it, and then you don't know if it's going to like worse. I guess if you're casting on your opponent's creature, you actually want the higher roll so they get a worse creature. Island, Marble Diamonds, Far Traveler background, Blink background, Dira Caller of the Small. 6 rabbit tokens, okay. Tahira's Respite. So it's like a ramp card that... It's a ramp card and a fog. The ramping gets better if you get attacked by more. Table left spawn. Oh, it's interesting. So it's triggered ability of that creature to trigger you make copy. So it like lets you copy your opponent's or ETB. Blade of Selves. Shameless Charlatan background. Council of 4. So whenever a player draws their second card during their turn, you draw cards. So it's like it affects you also. Draw like 2 cards on your turn on another card. But it only affects each player on their turn. The White Plume Adventure, I remember this card being a big deal in Legacy, or got banned. And your temple is under attack. I'm waiting for the StarCraft crossover when they make the card. You must construct additional pylons. So yeah, it's either a card that can save all your creatures from a board wipe, or you can use it politically to give yourself and else at the table. Ghastly Death Tyrant. I think this is very similar to that other card, like the Beholder from like AFR. Except this gives Death Touch into a menace, and this destroys an enchantment. I think the other one it made them sack an enchantment, but but this one actually makes you lose life, I guess, because you get to target it. Like usually targeted black enchantment removal costs you. Hoarding Ogre. Rock. The Hoarding Ogre was a reprint from our Rock. Yeah, I can see there's definitely a theme about permanents you control leaving the field. Gulfport Merchant, everybody's favorite card from AFR. This card was definitely very good in that format. Forest. Annex, Astral Hunter, 4 and a red, legendary creature dragon. So it's a an payoff. Candlekeep stage background. Wilson Refined Grizzly. I definitely wanted to put this in my mono green bear EDH deck that I just ended up like not doing anything with it, but it's a lot of text on a creature. Vigilance, Reach, Trample, and Ward 2. For 2-2, that's a lot of ability. Sculpted Sunburst. Okay. So it says 3 in double white sorcery. Choose a creature you control, then each opponent chooses a creature they control with equal or lesser power. If you chose a creature this way, exile each creature not chosen by any player this way. Okay, so I think it means you have to have at least one creature in play in order for this to exile anything. Because if you don't have any creatures in play, this actually doesn't. Stick together, party board wipe. So parties, it was originally a mechanic introduced in like Zendikar Rising. Like party was basically anytime you had like you could choose up to one of the cleric, rogue, warrior, or wizard, and that was like your party, and then having one creature of each type counted as having a full party. They didn't do anything with it in the Adventures in the Forgotten Realms set, which was sort of a surprise, but then I guess this set they decided to party matters cards. Another Kindred discovery, that's nice. Definitely nice. And another Jan Jansen Chaos Crafter. And the Gorion Wise Mentor Adventure payoff cards. And a John Arenicus Shadowed One. Really fun card with bad creatures like Fear, or I think it's like Fear Elemental and whatnot. Maybe it's Desecration Elemental. Or it's like a 4-mana 8/8 that like every time a player casts a spell, you have to sack a permanent. Like it's like the whole idea is you give away bad creatures. Your opponents have to like deal with them. Creatures that have a drawback for control. I mean, that's what I meant by like bad creature. Draconic Lore, the dragon payoff, draw spell. Goliath Paladin. Again, this is the initiative. So initiative means you get to enter the Undercity, which is a specific dungeon, not like the other ones. Realms. Shiny Impetus. Ooh, so shiny. Underseller Sweep. You or a player attacking has the initiative. So it's like a reward for having the initiative or attacking the Bane's Contingency. Oh, that's kind of neat. It's like a card that rewards you for countering a spell that targets your commander. Mountain. Servog Deathbringer. Master Chef. Didn't know they had Halo cards in this game. I'm just still legendary enchantment background that works with like your +1/+1 or synergies. Scion of Halaster background. Yeah, you can basically look at 2 cards instead of just paying card of also helps you fill your graveyard. Shameless Charlatan background. Bailoff. Bear Little Entertainer. A lot of goading going on, so creatures your opponent control with power less than Bailoff, Baratil's power goaded. Never goaded attacking or blocking creature size. Then Wizards of They. Myriad. Makes instants and sorcery spells you cast cost one area less to cast, and you make cast sorcery. Londo to Seeker. Reminds me of a lot. It has a lot of text on it. So draw a card, then exile a card from your hand, and put a number of time count and the value. It gains when the last time counter is removed. Card if it's exiled, it casts it without paying its mana. Cast a creature spell this way again. Then remove a time count. Other card you own. Reminds me of like Joyra. As a True Sword Paladin, whenever an enchanted creature attacks one of your opponents, it gets +2/+0 and gains trample. Whenever an aura you control is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, exile it until the end of your next turn. So it's a aura payoff card. Then Lae'zel's Acrobatics. A exile all non-token creatures you control. D20. 1 to 9. Return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of the next step. And then 10 to 20. Return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control, then exile them again. And return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. Let them be. So it lets you blink once or sometimes blink twice. Blink your creatures twice, I mean. So good for all your ETB. Druidic Ritual. Remember this card got like buffed on Arena because it wasn't like good, like people didn't think it was enough. Like they buffed it by making it up to 2 creatures or 2 lands. So total of 2 cards, but just gave you more. Trailblazer's Torch. Initiative artifact. Punishes people for blocking it. They're equipped with it. Dragonborn Looter. Worse than Merfolk Looter, but it has Dragon Tribal. Sailor's Bane. 9 double blue creature dragon turtle 7/7. This spell costs 1 generic less to cast for each card you own in exile in your graveyard. That's an instant card, a sorcery card, or a card that has adventure. And it has Ward 4 on it, which is a lot. Like Ward 4 probably means like very similar to like Hexproof. About it just because it's gonna be so target it. Soulwinder. Okay, so it is 2 generic in the green, Death Touch 1. When Skullwinder enters the battlefield, return target card from your graveyard to your hand, and then choose that player returns a card from their graveyard to them. You can target an opponent that has like no cards in their card. Something really bad in their graveyard. Plains. Aaron is Gloomstalker. 2 in a green, legendary creature halfling, Death Touch. Whenever Aaron is Gloomstalker attacks, return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So it's similar to that 4 mana 3/3 from Rivals on. You think no, actually no, that mills you when it attacks and when it dies. Cards land card. Just like a ramp. It's like a ramp creature, but you have to attack with it. And you have to have land card. Livon Cultist of Tiamat. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, target creature gets plus X plus 0 until that. So it's a non-creature spell thing. Like rewards for that. Another Tavon Cultist of Tiamat. Earthquake Dragon. Walking Doppelganger. That's cool. So it's a clone, but only copy creatures your opponent controls, but then it also makes those creatures goaded and give like multiple opponents that have like the same creature, and creatures will be goaded. Font of Magic. So it's a three generic and a blue enchantment. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 generic less to cast for each time you cast this game. So yeah, you just need to keep, like, you can discount your instants and sorceries, but you would need to keep paying commander tax a bunch. Popular entertainer background. Like combat damage, go type thing. Then Will Blades of the Frontier, a dice roll payoff. It also makes your, you get to roll more dice. So I guess the way it's worded is that it would still only get like a single +1/+1 counter, because it says rolling 1 or more dice. So it's like, but I mean, just getting to roll more dice seems like it's pretty good in dice in a format that has a lot of cards on and fraying line, like weird delayed wipe. You haven't seen it before. It says when for generic artifact, when fraying line enters the battlefield, put a rope counter on target creature. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, player may pay 2 generic. If they do, they put a rope counter on a creature they control. Otherwise, exile fraying line and creature value rope counter. So yeah, it's like a delayed board wipe that you can spend mana to like save things, and so your opponents can also spend mana to save a creature or whatever, or save a creature from the eventual board wipe, etc. Dread Lenorm, Citadel Gate, Astral Confrontation, like a Myriad payoff card because it gets cheaper. I mean, I guess it's also, you don't necessarily need Myriad, but Myriad is immediate like card you think that would give your attack. Giant Onkeg, just really big. It also gives like our other creature one ward too. It's nice. Nemesis Phoenix, 3 red creature Phoenix flying, 2 generic and a red. Return Nemesis Phoenix from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped and attacking. Activate only during the declare attacker's step and only if you're attacking 2. So yeah, again, it's like kind of goes with like the dead thing, or just having like multiple creatures play to attack. Lost Diamond, Tavern Brawler background. I don't know how like being a Tavern Brawler has anything to do with Exile Top Pirate Library. Like, I get like the power. Like it rewards you for playing like cards. There's some cards that reward you for casting spells from exile. Saw it in Bashir. Hair, Invoker Adept, Grell Philosopher, two generic in the blue. Creature Horror Wizard. Aberrant Tinkering. When Grell Philosopher enters the battlefield at the beginning of upkeep, each horror you control gains all activated abilities. Target artifact of opponent control. You spend blue mana as though we're mana, then you activate. It's very specific that it only affects horrors. Heck. Fire Garden, again, another Battle Bond type land. Battle Bond and then Asarian the Decadent. The Raphael Fiendish Savior. 3 generic black and a red, legendary creature Devil Noble, flying. Other demons, devils, imps, and things you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature card was put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn, create a 1/1 red devil. Creature token with when this creature dies, Gale Waterdeep Prodigy. So it lets you 2 generic and a blue, legendary creature, human wizard, 1/3. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell from your cast up to 1 target card of the other type from your spell casts from your graveyard this way. Graveyard exile. So yeah, you can you still need to pay the mana for the casting both of the spells, but like it rewards you for having both instants and sorceries, because you can cast an instant from your hand to be able to cast a sorcery from the graveyard, or vice versa, cast a sorcery from your hand to be able to cast an instant. So Arms of Hadar is a one-sided infest. Targets 1 player infest type thing. Circle Land Druid. Old Folk. So very similar to like, well, I mean, they've had a lot of cards like this before. It's just, I mean, it has lifelink, which is an improvement, but it costs a mana to activate. But it's like similar. It's similar to like, Blood or Bloodline Connoisseur or whatever, or I think it's like, I don't remember. But it costs mana to activate. Rescuer Twinga, just like similar to Flash Lion. Father the Strong was a reprint from Rivals of Ixalan. Forest. Cloak of the Bat. Not to be confused with Batman's cloak. Oakwood Hermit. Legendary enchantment background. So there's like definitely a theme about putting cards into the graveyard during your turn. This can spawn rolls. That Flaming Fist background, pretty straightforward. Give your creature your commander creature double strike. And Owlbear Cub, which is pretty adorable, the bird. 2 generic in the green. Creature bird bear 3/3. Whenever Owlbear Cub attacks a player who controls 8 or more lands, look at the top 8 cards of your library. You may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking them. Put the rest on the library. That is a lot of cards that potentially. But you have to wait. They have to have 8 lands. Now Feshni. And there's like a payoff for casting spells from exile because you get to copy them. So I guess if you copy a permanent, then it doesn't stick around. You like, I think the main thing this works with is like adventures. Because like adventures are basically creatures that are. Wrathful Red Dragon. I remember this card being really insane. Really, it doesn't. It also just says any dragon, not just it. Bane, Lord of Darkness. So one generic white, blue, black legendary creature. Kind of crazy stats, and then as long as your life total is less than or equal to half of your starting life total, Bane, Lord of Darkness has indestructible. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, target opponent may have you draw a card. If they don't, you may put a creature card with equal or lesser toughness from your hand on the battlefield. So I guess that's why it's a 5 too, so that like when it dies. Well, it also says there's another non-token, so it actually doesn't really matter. Like it's the toughness matters card, but you have to play it from your hand. Yeah, so yeah, I guess if you have cards in your hand, probably let you draw the card. Unless like they're afraid. Like maybe they're not afraid of you putting Ball, Lord of Murder, 2 generic, black, red, green, odd. As long as your life total is less than or equal to half your starting life total, Ball, Lord. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature and go. Oh, that's kind of neat. Like you can buff your creature, but then they have to attack next turn, or you can buff your opponent's creature. Goad them. Has that life total less than half your starting life total thing, and then Descent into Avernus. 2 generic and a red enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, put 2 descent counters onto Avernus, and then each player creates X treasure tokens and descent into Avernus, deal X damage to each player, where X is the number of descent. Oh yeah, so just like that is a see that it's like a sulfuric vortex that increases in damage. Lantern of Revealing, mana rock that can also let you ramp have land on top of your library. Corpse Scry, Super Scry. Colossal Badger. Sylvanas' Invoker. You can animate your lands when you have a lot of mana to work with. Mindstone. That's kind of cool art. That one does look quite stony. Go on to Gate. Gates you control enter the battlefield untapped. Add colorless and then add 1 mana of any color gate you control. So it's like at the gate tribal payoff. Because it takes away the downside playing gates, which is battlefield tapped. Then it doesn't mana itself. You or generate man. It only generates colorless mana, so you would have like other gates. Island. Canter of Endless Water. It has those really important texts that a lot of EDH players enjoy, which is not having them excellent. Bacchus the Butcher, Dragon, Payoff card. Annex, Astro Hunter, Will's Reversal. So it is like yeah, it's like deflection slash wild ricochet 15. Seasoned Dungeoneer, I guess, was another like initiative card. I think also I don't know if this got played in Legacy, but I felt like this was also a card that people didn't like playing as. Yeah, I think I remember this actually did Legacy. Just like being able to give one of your creatures protection from also Lae'zel's Acrobatics, Brian Wisementor, Nero Wildmate, the Bramble Sovereign. Oh, that's funny. So it's two and double green creature dryad 4/4. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield, you may pay one in a green. You do that creature's controller creates a token copy of that. So it's like a you can copy your creatures with it, which is probably like the most likely thing to happen. But you could also pay mana to give one of your opponents a copy of their creature, right? Because it goes under their controls. Because it's that creature's controller, so it still goes under their control. But I guess if you're like trying to convince people not to like kill it, right? Kill your dryad. Patron of the arts. Earth Tremor. I mean, yeah, just, your standard limited type. Hand Tower. Passageway Seer, which I think also saw like a little play in Legacy. Gothic. It's like a 4-mana, so it's 5 mana 4/3. That when it dies, you either draw a card, lose 1 life, or you draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, or if you get the 20, you draw 7. Forest. Nari, Merchant of Marvels. A dragon and artifact. I guess tribal payoff card. Giving all your dragon exile flash. Amber Gristle Maul. This 3 mana, so 3 generic and a ace legendary creature, dwarf cleric 3. Whenever Amber Gristle Maul attacks, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw a card for each. So again, it's like a card that rewards playing myriad stuff. Living a lot of creatures, Master Chef. Sentinel Worm. A dragon tribal payoff card. 3 green, blue, red, legendary dragon spirit, flying ward. Whenever another non-token dragon battlefield, create a token that's a copy of it, except you can make copies non-token as the end of Journey to Lost City 3. Beginning your upkeep, exile the top 4 cards of your library. 1 to 9, you may put a land card from among those cards on the battlefield. 10 to 19, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token, then put a +1/+1 counter on it for each creature card among those cards. And 20, put all permanent cards exiled with Journey to the Lost City on the battlefield. Okay, a lot of text. A lot of text. Also a really fast way to exile your entire library. Praying Line. Another Miram, Sentinel Worm. Another Gale, Waterdeep Prodigy. Tomb of Horrors Adventurer. 5 in a 5 generic in the blue. Creature Elf Monk. When Tomb of Horrors Adventurer enters the battlefield, you take the initiative. Whenever you cast your second spell, each turn copy it. You've completed the dungeon, copy that spell twice instead. You may choose new targets for the. Why does like that elf look really, really skinny? It might just be like the person. I know elves are supposed to be. Looks really, that elf looks. Anyways, let's see. We got black market connections and a kindred discovery and another kindred discovery and two of the spawn lands. I don't know if they're actually worth that much. I'm not really sure. And there was like the stub blade of selves. I don't think is actually white plume. Or anyways, thanks for watching this video. I hope people enjoy listening to me talk about magic cards, and I hope like the descriptions of some of the cards are like useful. I'm trying to experiment to see if reading the card text helps, because I know not everybody has like seen all the cards, especially if you haven't played Arena. And I guess if you played on Arena, some of the card text is gonna be different because of made for alpha. But if you like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. I will be doing more of box opening videos, also some draft and constructive gameplay here. So I'll see you all in the next video. Okay, thank you. Bye.